Alex Mossop, and welcome to Parramatta Stadium for tonight's National Panasonic Cup clash between defending Cup champions Balmain and the Illawarra Steelers. It was here at Parramatta Stadium last year on the 10th of June when Balmain captured their third Cup title by defeating Penrith by 14 points to 12. The Tigers won the Cup in 1976, in 1985 and in 1987, which makes them the most successful club in the history of Cup football. The Illawarra side were knocked out in their first round match last year by Parramatta. They were coached then by Brian Smith. This season the man at the helm is Terry Fernley. OK, let's go to Graham Hughes and the Tigers den to see how they line up for tonight.
Even taking into account the Tigers tonight are without the likes of Pearce, Gale and Sirinen, there's enough on the line for the rest of the team in this match to really bring out their best. Firstly, they owe it to themselves and no one else to prove that last Sunday's form against Parramatta was all wrong. And secondly, let's remember most importantly, they are the defending National Panasonic Cup champs. So right from that fullback position in Gary Jack, they'll be out for big games. The rest of the three quarters, Parrish, Gartner, Parrish, Conlon, Pobji, Freeman and Rolls. And the forwards, Sinclair, Owens, Maguire, Clark, Elias and Roach. And the coach is Warren Ryan.
An amazing fact about this Illawarra side is that they've only ever won one National Panasonic Cup match since they came in. That's probably a statistic you don't want to hear.
Well, mate, if the law of averages is correct, we should win tonight, shouldn't we?
Well, is the side capable of winning?
I'm sure they are. Yeah, they're in a good frame of mind. I think they'll play well.
All right, good luck.
Thanks, Ian.
A late change to the Illawarra side with halfback Perry Haddock out has caused a reshuffle. Let's check the full lineup, shall we? Larder, Mannix, Leggett, Hetherington, Carney. Upfield now at 5'8". Phillips to halfback. Russell is at lock. And then Carberry, Hardy, Cole, Bolt and Walsh. And, of course, the coach we just heard from, Terry Fernley.
The winner of tonight's encounter will earn the right to play North Sydney in a quarter-final of the National Panasonic Cup. OK, we'll be back in just a moment for the kick-off.
Balmain, going back to last Sunday, the disappointment of that hiding at the hands of Parramatta. You can more or less see the determination on their faces for this one tonight. Big performances required from their front row. Paul Clark is up there in place of Kerry Hemsley. And Benny Elias, certainly one of the most important players in this Tigers lineup tonight. He'll be controlling everything around the rucks. And I'm sure they'll be looking for him to be doing a lot more running as Steve Roach leads them onto the field.
And the Illawarra side being led tonight by Brian Hetherington. It's a mixture of experience and youth. They too had a disappointing weekend, drawing with the Gold Coast after being well in control at half-time. But a very disappointing second half for them. But tonight, as you heard Terry Fernley say to us in the dressing room, that's all forgotten last weekend. Their mind is on the job tonight, and they've got a tough one.
They certainly have, but a very experienced skipper tonight, Brian Hetherington, standing in for Perry Haddock. He'll be calling all the shots for the Steelers. And the referee, the man in control, Bill Harrigan, all set now to get us underway.
Our main players really keyed up for this one. Ross Conlon, who found himself at 5'8" against Parramatta last weekend, back in the centre tonight. So referee Bill Harrigan just checks both sides, blows time on, and we're underway on a coolish night at Parramatta Stadium. First signs of winter perhaps tonight. And Lala bringing the ball up over the quarter line before he's put down. Cole. This fella looks like a weightlifter, doesn't he? Big chest, big arms. The Balmain defence working as a unit. As Carberry plays it to Michael Bolt and Chris Walsh. Back for the kick from upfield. And Gary Jack automatically puts those Illawarra players onside as soon as he touched that ball. And he's caught 12 metres out from his own line. And Michael Pobji. And they've already the Illawarra defence very keen to meet the man carrying the ball just outside the quarter line. Or Clark playing it, and here comes Roach, turning it back inside for Maguire. Last tackle signal for Balmain. Rolls, sending it straight down to Lada, but the penalty has been awarded, and I think you'll find that'll be for a late tackle on Rolls, well after he kicked the ball.
Yes, on the Panosonic Cup replay, you can see there Bolt came through and really got him with an elbow. It didn't injure him in any way, but it was very late, very late.
So Bolt receives the caution and the penalty given where that ball landed, and that's 10 metres inside the Illawarra half. And again, Conlon is going to persist with this place kicking for touch, as he did last Sunday. For the life of me, I can't see the advantage of it.
You're not the only one.
What it seems to do is use up more time than is probably necessary, but he's found touch on the quarter line. So the Tigers now with the first opportunity to put some attack on as Rolls goes across field, turns it inside for Paul Clark, and he's lost it already. Simple error.
Yes, and that's something they can ill afford to do on the first tackle after a penalty had been awarded to them.
Harrigan issuing warnings to both sides about how he wants these scrums to go down. This is Phillips, originally selected at 5'8", but moved to halfback because of the injury to Perry Haddock. I thought that Illawarra would miss Haddock's leadership and, of course, his kicking game. Here's Walsh taking it up strongly for the Steelers. Back for upfield, out to Lada. And the knock-on ruled.
Here it is. Lada comes through with a nice little kick on the National Panosonic Cup lead, but Parrish was hounding him there, just like a shearer's dog, and caught him from behind.
So from the scrum, a penalty to Balmain. Feed across the ruling, and Conlon comes up again, and the little sand boy has to rush from the other side of the field to bring his sand bucket.
I haven't seen him gain any exceptional ground with this kick any more than he would with a punt kick.
Well, you'll recall, Rex, that his first kick last Sunday failed to find touch.
I agree. That can happen either way. Kicking with a punt kick for the touch too, you can still miss touch. But I really can't see the advantage of it.
Obviously under instructions. Now here's Elias taking the tap. And the run around with Russell Gartner. 30 metres out from the Illawarra line. And what can they put on? The ball's gone loose. That's what they can put on.
I wonder if Billy Anderson, as a former coach of the Balmain side, got any feelings about it. Billy?
Well, as in relation to that kick for touch, it was something actually, Rex, that I discussed last year with Ross Conlon, and he indicated to me that it was a job he didn't enjoy. But I think what it does show is that Balmain doesn't really have anyone that's got a strong kicking game and can get good touch for them. And I believe that was one of the reasons they lost the game against Parramatta.
Well, here's a good move as Roach runs off on the last pass. And he's put down just 9 metres short of the Steelers' line. Here come the Tigers. What can they do? Rolls across to Freeman and to Conlon, to Gary Jack. He's put down in a back-slamming tackle. 12 metres out. This is John Owens playing in jumper number 16. Elias showing the ball either side and eventually giving it to no one. Last tackle signal for Balmain. From dummy half goes Pobji, trying to flick the ball back to Elias and then to Rolls, and then out it went to Maguire, who put it down. And the Steelers come up with it just 3 metres from their own line.
Already the signs there that Benny Elias is certainly going to take a far greater hand in this match. Great ball he put through for big Steve Roach, and a couple of little jinky runs out of that dummy half position. Billy, a lot of breeze about tonight. How strong is it behind the Steelers?
Oh, I'd say it's about 15 knots at the moment. It's a strong southeasterly, and I think the Steelers have got to use it. They should be kicking over here towards this western stand getting good territorial gains and then waiting for mistakes and working from there. But already the early indications are that they don't have a good kicking game. They've been looking to find upfield, and I think really he's a second choice, and they're going to miss Haddock's kicking very much.
Well, again, they go back for upfield. This time he finds room for the kick. Judge for yourself there. He's read it to perfection. While he was listening to Billy Anderson's comments, found the breeze and this Western grandstand.
Yes, that's a fine kick. National Panasonic Cup replay. Gary Jack had no recourse there, but just to watch it go over the sideline. That's a gain of, all in all, about 55 metres.
So the first chance for the Steelers to go on the attack. But again, the penalties go to Balmain. Something they didn't receive early in the match last Sunday against Parramatta. But all the early breaks going their way. A very simple reasoning here. See it for yourself. Well and truly into the second row there by Peter Phillips. So Balmain, as I said, getting all the early breaks in this first quarter. Scrum apiece, but there's those penalties. 3-0 to the Tigers. Gartner on the runaround. Takes play midfield now for the Tigers and just into the territory of Illawarra. Rolls. Misses out Rhodes Conlon. Freeman. The pass goes astray. It was headed for Gary Jack, but he'd overrun it. And the Steelers, in fact, have come up with the possession. Good run from Dean Carney. Big man for a winger. Former second rower made his mark in the centres was Cronulla, and now on the wing with the Steelers. So chances coming through that bad pass from Freeman. As Roach wraps up Bolt. Well and truly gives him a serve just outside the Tigers' quarter. They go the short line. Upfield looks inside. Pass goes astray. It was headed for Hardy. Tigers swiftly turn this into counter-attack. Bruce Sinclair straight up the middle. Out towards his own half. Brought down by Brian Hetherington. Quick play of the ball now. Rolls. Conlon. Again, just on halfway. Elias. Rolls.
There's an overlap
Freeman.
here.
Well, they're just running out of players. Gary Jack was trying to make the extra man on the wing. Clark. Well, no support really. Just got a sloppy ball away. It's been picked up now, and Freeman goes on the attack. Elias. Rolls. Sinclair. 32 metres out on the last tackle. Elias looking for that in-goal area, trying to give his defence time. That kick's a little bit shorter than what he would have wished as Mannix wraps that up for the Steelers. He just taps it and goes ahead. No marker. Very, very easy yardage for the Steelers. Gets that out to 32 metres from their line. Carberry on the charge down the blind side. Russell. Elias wraps him up. Very involved in this first quarter. The first penalty for the Steelers. It's taken 9 minutes to come their way in this first quarter. Benny Elias the culprit. So the scoreline still 0 apiece. Balmain and Illawarra. The touch. He's found it about 35 metres out from the Balmain goal line. Mannix. Hit solidly by Bruce Maguire. Bit of a wrestling match as he tries to get up to his feet. Kyle's put it behind him. Carberry in the dummy half position. Well, Russell's just put down a very, very simple pass.
And an Illawarra fan had the hide to come up to me. I know one swallow doesn't make a summer. He said, give this Russell a good go tonight. He's a beauty. He's not got very good credentials at the moment.
Rolls falls on it. 32 metres out from the Balmain line. Sinclair. Owen. Keeping the ball alive as Elias skirts the crossfield. Here comes Roach had that arm free, looking for support, just couldn't get it away. Up to Conlon. But the Illawarra defence equal to the occasion. Last tackle signal for the Tigers. Freeman. Larder comes in for it, takes it well. But thought there may have been a little knock on, but the referee spotted something in here.
Well, he didn't actually drop it. I think probably there's going to be a slight caution there to Freeman for a little bit of a Larry Dooley that went into the tackle there. He thought that the referee wasn't positioned to see it, but Harrigan was. So the penalty goes to the Illawarra side, and Larder will take the kick for touch, incidentally. Yes, Johnny Croucher, you've got some information for us, haven't you, about footy tag?
Yes, I have, Rex. I guess you won't be surprised to hear that over 70% of the entries have gone for Balmain to win this one tonight. We've got $32,000 in the dividend pool. The most popular score tonight, Balmain 18, Illawarra 12.
Yes, fair enough. I would have expected it that way too.
And here's Chris Walsh in possession for the Steelers, 10 metres inside the Balmain half. Phillips, tiny little fellow, isn't he? Still going. Good run from the halfback. Plenty of groping around the shoulders for Phillips, and he was able to keep going. Now, here's Cole. Able to offload nicely. It's back now for Larder. His pass has been touched by Balmain in flight, but the Steelers have put it down, and the Tigers come up with it.
Well, they can't afford to just dispense with possession like that. That's ridiculous.
Now, here's Conlon linking up with Podgy. John Owens, 10 metres short of the halfway mark. Roach takes it up strongly. Still no score in this match in the first quarter. Balmain on Illawarra from the Parramatta Stadium. And a half break from Rolls. Picked up by Elias. Did well to hang on to that. Back for Freeman. Shaped to kick, but he's dislodged two tacklers. There's the little kick through. But upfield is back there to pick it up. And upfield is caught right on his own quarter line, or just inside his own quarter line. Carberry. Those little chips that you saw from Freeman, Bill Anderson, I guess is because the Steelers are playing that one line of defence.
Yes, they're playing no cover defence. The fullback's back very deep, so there is space there in behind for Balmain to chip the ball. Actually, you've got a bit of a contrast here. Balmain are playing cover defence in the form of Rolls and this angle-in sort of defence, so the holes against the Tigers will be out wide, holes against Illawarra over the top.
Well, Jack couldn't hang on to that upfield kick, and Gartner was able to get on it, and there's a Illawarra player down injured, as Jack has it now. And he's caught about 30 metres out. It's Hetherington who was down following that kick through and collided with the Balmain player. Now Elias getting out to Parrish. A strong game last Sunday, Parrish against Parramatta.
A very good debut, I thought.
Paul Clark. 40 metres out from the Balmain line. Roach. And then to Rolls, and then to Freeman, who's put it down. So the handling has left a little to be desired in the first 15 minutes or so. Already we've seen 10 handling errors in this first quarter. Balmain have made 6 of them. It's Phillips again. A nippy little halfback. Russell. Carberry. Balmain defence holds in. Now Cole just takes the Balmain defence straight on. Phillips, the halfback running strongly. Good run from the little fellow. Last tackle signal now for the Steelers. They're only 5 metres out from the Balmain line. Here's Larder trying to regain a poor kick which has bounced off a Balmain player. So the Tigers come up with it just 5 metres from their own line.
And that was desperation stakes for the Tigers. Some sloppy defence around the rucks. Quite surprisingly, Phillips was able to easily beat Gary Jack on that run. So they really haven't started on their best foot again tonight. So Remembering, of course, that Wayne Pearce is missing. Plenty of cover defence and at middle of the ruck, a few gaps. Roach just settling play down, just 4 minutes away from the end of this first quarter, and on the last tackle now. Rolls just with that kick in. Straight down to Larder, though. He finds Max Mannix. Mannix wrapped up by Maguire and Parrish. Larder from dummy half. Upfield. Carberry. Well taken by Leggett. Just short of the Tigers halfway. Hardy with that long ball. Well picked up by Carney. He can't free himself with those tackles out. Again, there's no marker for Balmain. Well, he's going to pick him up here for walking off the mark. It was interesting to see where he could have headed, though. Benny Elias was lying at his feet.
Well, there it is again. Benny Elias was the culprit there. Really, I would have perhaps given some consideration to penalising him for lying down in that area of the ruck, but he's got him for walking off the mark, so we can't argue with the referee. We can criticise him, but we can't argue with him.
Well, Balmain would just be thinking what a difference the 4 or 5 days makes. All those sort of penalties were going the way of Parramatta on Sunday. There's all the missing talent. Rolls. Just outside the quarter. Elias. Roach. Always a danger that he can stand and unload. Gary Jack was hanging around for the pass. Paul Clark. Elias back up the middle. It goes for Sinclair. Wrapped up by Cole. Good test now for the Steelers. Freeman puts a little kick in. But on the rebound, picking up that ball is Bolt. So they really should just play out time now to the end of this first quarter as Hardy starts to take it away and make good yardage up towards the quarter line. Still no score. Bolt. Phillips. Carberry. So Phillips is the danger man so far in this first quarter. He's made a couple of good half breaks for the Steelers. Russell. Back on the inside. That pass was knocked down. 6 to go. And Russell finds plenty of room to move. Out wide for Leggett. He heads back infield. Some sloppy defence again from the Tigers. He's taken into the half of the Balmain side now. Quickly to his feet. Cole. Well, they're standing back and waiting. Certainly Warren Ryan would be concerned about the defence in this first quarter. Hardy. Chris Walsh fumbles that one, so there's the relief of the pressure for Balmain. Just when they were looking threatening, again we come up with a lost ball. It's really been the story of the early rounds of the competition. Big Steve Roach. Out of responsibility of the captaincy tonight again. Elias takes the shortcut. Looking for touch, won't find it. Mannix will be brought down just outside his own quarter. And he's lost it. Wow.
Yes, the replay camera doesn't lie. Another drop pass. And that is the end of the first quarter with a no score line. It's been a very torrid encounter, but not very much in the way of continuity because neither side has been able to come to grips with handling the football. We'll hope for better in the second. Be back in a moment.
Panosonic match between Balmain and Illawarra. No score in that first quarter, and we'll hope for better things in this quarter. There were 13 handling errors. 13 times the ball was put down in that first quarter. Both sides contributing to that. Balmain 7 times and the Steelers 6. Now Ian Russell bringing it up for the Steelers. There we are, the missed tackles. Well, Balmain have missed 7, Illawarra just the 1. So you would imagine that Warren Ryan would have had plenty to say about the first 20 minutes.
Well, you could add to that probably 4 or 5 of those Balmain tackles were all missed on the one man, Peter Phillips. He made a couple of good half breaks, nearly scored once in that first quarter. He's the man to watch from the Steelers outfit.
Very impressive 20 minutes as Upfield sends the ball downfield. Can Jack get there? The ball will beat him. That's another beautiful kick from Upfield.
Yes, it'll look very good on the National Panasonic Cup replay. It's a great kick. It's a kick of something very close to 60 metres. And Jack had no chance. They haven't really taken the odds to this win they've got behind them. There's apparent from those 2 kicks that we've seen that there's a great amount of yardage to be gained. They don't appear to be kicking with any great idea.
Well, here's Freeman now, after the scrum went with the feed. Sinclair. And straight into Carberry, and hung on to him. Roach, back inside for Freeman. Now Conlon, and to Matt Parrish. And again, Russell was around his ankles. Gary Jack probing for that gap in the defence, but it's holding him okay. Blindside comes Rolls. Kick is there for Larder. Larder's dropped it behind him. Mannix fell on it for the Steelers. The referee is going to rule a knock on. It didn't appear to be anything difficult in that tackle for Larder. He just took it up well and then dropped it as soon as the tackle was made. Here go the Tigers. Gary Jack injecting himself into the back line. 40 metres out from the Steelers line. Parrish. Strong fellow. Illawarra player down injured. Trying to move around him now as Roach takes it into the quarter. Found support from John Owen. Back it goes for Freeman. Freeman's got support from Podgy, and Podgy will score under the post. Good backing up from the Tigers, keeping the ball alive, and it was Podgy who went in to score.
Well, suddenly out of nothing comes a very, very well-worked try. Roach started it by turning the ball back there. A little short pass. Got away very, very well indeed. And then on to Freeman, who charged for the line, got the pass away, and Podgy came in diagonally to score a very, very good try and catch the defence at 6s and 7s. It was a first-class effort, again from head-on. Now watch Freeman as he gets the pass away, and there's Podgy coming from diagonally out, diagonally in. And that is a quite exceptional try. Frequently you can get the situations that players get stiff-armed or attempted stiff-arm because they catch the defence on the wrong foot. But if you're far enough away, oh gee, that can be very effective.
Well, Ross Conlon made no mistake with the conversion, straight between the post. And it's Balmain over Illawarra by 6 points to nothing. Well, they're the sort of tries that goal kickers like to see, right under the post. Now, can the Steelers recover from that? They've shown a little bit of promise, particularly the halfback, Phillips. Gardner on his own line. Held by Hardy. Or Clark. Steelers very enthusiastic with their defence, trying to keep the Tigers pinned down this area as Parrish makes another half break. Still going Parrish, losing the ball. Picked up by Phillips for the Steelers, and he'll play it 10 metres inside the Balmain half. Kicked through by Gary Jack, and he'll be penalised. Well, in fact, it's not him who's penalised, but the other Balmain players who are inside the 5 metres.
Well, he's raised his foot before the ball went down. The ball wasn't actually played by the young Phillips because it was kicked out from underneath him.
Larder takes the kick for touch and finds it just inside the Balmain quarter. Bolt takes the tap, gives it away to Mannix. Now what can the Steelers do? Away goes Cole. Turns his back into the defence. This time it's Chris Walsh. Running hard and strong, and now he's only about 4 metres from the line. Pressure for the Tigers. Back it comes as the Steelers spin it wide, and beautifully picked up by Carney, but the pass has been ruled forward.
Yes, it would have been a highly spectacular try had it been allowed, but the pass was probably forward. We'll be able to judge a little better on this. Look at the line. He passes there, and there it's about a yard forward by that definition. So Mr. Harrigan was in good place to see that.
He certainly was in good position, but it's Balmain, in fact, coming up with the ball now. Pobsey's set sailing. Well, he's gone close to that touchline. That's not good football. He doesn't have to be told. The first tackle and a chance for the Steelers to come back with possession.
Yes, Michael Pobsey's been around in first-grade football to know you don't get driven towards the sideline. There's a giant precipice there, and if you go near it, you should fall over.
Bill Harrigan doesn't like that. Calls it back. Same result for the Steelers this time. Phillips again moving quickly out of that scrum base. And Russell. That 12 metres out and right in front of the Tigers' post. Back they switch it down the blind through upfield. Flick back inside for Phillips. This time they have no trouble with the little man. Russell. Carberry. Just takes the tackle. So the defence holding at the moment. Hetherington. They need to run one out a little bit, the Steelers. Not setting themselves for their supports. Last tackle. Larder elects to use the bomb. Well, it's gone astray, but the Tigers have tidied it up. There was plenty of support back there for Gary Jack.
Yes, a dangerous bomb because it fell to the ground, and it was young Parrish that was able to clean it up for the Balmain side, but a fairly dangerously positioned one by Larder, and very high.
Conlon with the restart. The line drop. Straight to Carberry. Originally named as a replacement for this match. But when Perry Haddock was out and caused the reshuffle, he came into the scrum. Mannix. Well, again, they're just wasting tackles. Phillips trying to take over around the rucks there and get this ball moving wide. Well, very slowly to their feet. In this play the ball situation, they're not putting any pressure on this Balmain defence. Russell. Last tackle again for the Steelers. Larder. Upfield goes wide. Chip kick out for Dean Carney, but that'll just find touch. About 8 metres short of the Tigers' line.
Yes, Upfield, who's basically a lock forward, kicked left-footed on that occasion, and I don't think he really expected anyone to get to the ball because it was travelling much too fast. But it was a gain of about 11 metres from there where he kicked it.
Everything the Steelers currently doing at a very, very slow pace. Pobsey. The try scorer for Balmain. 10 metres out. Gary Jack. As long as this match goes, he's going to be encamped in that front line in attack. Roach. All the hard work now needed for Balmain to get out of their own quarter. Sinclair unloads for Elias. Shows the ball. Still going. Just still short of his own quarter on the last tackle. Rolls. Switches play back for Jack. He's struggling to get his kick in as well. Good chasing from the Steelers defence. Well, Mannix has come up with the error. Picked up while Gartner has made a meal of it. And it's anybody's.
Dear, oh dear, that was a dreadful bit of football there. If Gartner, and you know, he's an experienced player, I think he should have known better, should have slowed down a fraction. Tried to pick that ball up carefully because there was a try at the end of that. If he could have swooped on that, collected it and given it to the man on the loose on the inside, I don't think anyone would have caught him.
He certainly had some support on the inside, so that was a chance for the Tigers. Well, a penalty for the Steelers. A smile from Steve Roach, the swinging boot coming from the scrum, trying to kick that away from Phillips.
Have you ever known anyone to become so amicable as Steve Roach since he was given the captaincy? He's benevolent, he's lovable, he's warm-hearted.
Just play against him and find out how warm-hearted.
No. I'll play if they promise not to tackle.
And he's just become a father, I understand. Steve
me?
Roach. No, not you, Rex.
Sorry. Definitely not.
Yeah, congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Roach. Now here's Cole. Trying to wrestle his opponents. We do a pretty fair job of that too. From dummy half goes Mick Bolt. Long serving hooker with the Steelers.
Now, what a workhorse they got when they got him earlier.
And the Steelers get the penalty.
He's the most astonishing player. I think Bill Anderson can go on a little bit about how good Bolt is. Bill Anderson?
Yes, but you can see why the penalty was given here. It was obvious. Bolt was held down in the tackle, and as you suggested, Rex, he's been a real workhorse for Cronulla. He's a good scrummager. I think he was one of the first captains that the club used. He's a player that does his share of work in the open and in defence, and he'd be a much sought-after player if he was on the books.
Yes, well, he was considered for representative football several times, wasn't he?
Well, he wouldn't be out of his depth there.
Good one.
Now from right in front, we have Dean Carney. Shouldn't have any trouble at all with this. He's just, well, he's right in front of him, just inside the quarter. Very deliberate kicker. Intense concentration. And picks up the 2 points without any trouble. So at the Parramatta Stadium, it's Balmain 6, Illawarra 2.
Have you arranged your...
With the Tigers leading Illawarra. And Ross Conlon about to restart. Now Russell takes the tackle just 11 metres or so from his own line. Carney. Carberry taking it up strongly, probing for any holes that might be there in the Balmain defence. Chris Walsh. Basketball over to Hetherington. So there are some signs of some gaps appearing in the Balmain defence, if only the Steelers can hang on to the ball. And this time they've kicked out on the floor. So Lada's kick out on the full, the scrum to go down where he kicked it. And that's about 32 metres out from the Steelers line. Rolls at the scrum base. Sinclair dispensed with his headgear. Here's Elias.
Then he's just trying to do a little bit too much.
Rolls. Clark. Now Roach. To Freeman. The defence reading it pretty well. Upfield taking Freeman, no problem. Now here's Benny. Last tackle now for the Tigers. Back for Rolls. The bomb. And he chases as Mannix goes up and takes it calmly. No problem.
Yes, he didn't take his eyes off this ball. Absolutely magnificent that was, because Conlon was coming through at speed and would have really relished taking it. His momentum would have carried him into the end goal. Good catch by Mannix.
Now Jeff Hardy playing it in the goal mouth area. Walsh. He's held 15 metres out. Back for upfield, and that's exactly where the ball goes. Gary Jack waiting for it. Out of 2 tackles, Gary Jack beat 2 of them before he was caught. Now back inside the Illawarra half as Parrish runs strongly.
He's got to be penalised.
He is.
I hope that somebody picks him up on that one very, very smartly, because he crawled along the ground there like a dog. Have a look at him. 1, 2, 3. He's made about 5 yards there. That's ridiculous.
You must have made those mistakes when you switched from rugby.
No, well, yes, I did it when I switched from rugby, but after a few years or a few kicks up the backside by my captain, You were taught by your peers in that era. I think it's first year. Doesn't matter. That's something he should never do again. He knows now that he can't do it, and he should never do it again. The same with going out near the touchline.
Well, it certainly cost him plenty of yardage now. The Steelers on the attack, 32 metres out from the Tigers line. The breeze at their back in the first 2 quarters. They really haven't made good use of it. No advantage shown so far on the scoreline. Down by the 4 points. There's the scrums favouring Balmain 7-3. The penalties now turned around in the favour of Illawarra. They were down 3-0 at one stage in that area. So now just into the Tigers quarter line. Upfield on this blind side. Shaped the kick. Made the defence hang back. He unloads well for Hardy. Well, and now Hardy's lost the ball. So their momentum once again gone out the window. As Benny Elias heads upfield with the ball. You know, the number of mistakes they've made when attacking positions is quite incredible, this Illawarra side. So there it is, as I mentioned, 4 points, 6-2 in favour of Balmain. Bill, that's a disappointing scoreline for Terry Fernley with that big breeze at their backs, the Steelers.
Yes, well, Terry Fernley would have issued instructions to kick the ball. I think what they're lacking at the moment really is Perry Haddock's captaincy and organisation. Phillips is having a wow of a game personally, but I don't think he's doing the job really of organising his side and directing the attack or the kicking game.
Do you think Balmain are struggling with a bit of an organiser as well?
Well, they are somewhat, but I think their fundamentals and their formation is a little bit better at the moment. Balmain have been very methodical. It looks to me as if they're prepared just to try and grind this one out.
Well, that's what they're doing in these first 2 quarters. The Steelers are the ones that had to come up with the points at half-time, as we mentioned, with that breeze at their backs. Again, upfield looks to gain plenty of territory. Hobbs will be the man to bring this ball back, the try scorer for the Tigers. Can't beat that first tackle of Leggett. And the winner of tonight's National Panosonic match will go through to the quarter-final. Where they'll meet up with the North Sydney Bears, who disposed of the Gold Coast Giants last week. Parrish looking for some space out wide. None there in the Illawarra defence. Bruce Maguire. 3 minutes left in this second quarter. Rolls. Here's the little chip that they were discussing earlier. That defence upfield has read it and dropped back quickly, though. And needed to be, because the fullback Steve Larder was very, very deep. There it is on the replay. He had support too. Rolls after putting that kick in, but it was well read by upfield. And now Mannix is bringing the ball back to the halfway line for Illawarra. Very, very slow to their feet in the play of the balls. Doesn't do anything except give the opposition plenty of time to set their defences. Here's Phillips again, jinking around the middle of that rucks. Russell. Over the top it goes to Mannix. Well, he can't control it. Wasn't the best of passes, but he was probably entitled to take it.
Yes, well, chances come and chances go. That was a chance that came fairly well, because young Phillips has done marvellously well. He jinked and weaved his way through. Got it out to this fella here, who's Russell. And a high pass, but with a proper attention to detail, I do believe it was takeable. And he could have continued on. Not to be.
So Balmain, 60 seconds away from half-time. Ball was nearly intercepted. Ahead goes Pobsy very quickly. A little bit more enthusiasm in the play of the Tigers. Setting themselves out wide. Rolls. Conlon steps well to beat Kyle. Good ball out to Parrish. Chance here back on the inside. Well, that play was read by Glenn Leggett. Gary Freeman was certainly calling for the ball back on the inside. And no doubt now the penalty to go against Benny Elias for kicking in the ruck. So a good chance just prior to the break for both teams. And this one going astray. That run from Parrish. The long, long ball. But there was plenty of numbers there for Illawarra. And there needed to be.
Well, in hindsight, that's the best opportunity that Balmain's had to score another try. But young Parrish again, only to try to reinforce and make sure that he doesn't make the same mistakes. Should, if he couldn't have got the pass away correctly, died with the ball, and they would have got the ensuing play of the ball. Balmain 6, Illawarra 2. It did improve a little bit in that half. We'll hope for better things in the after the half-time break, because this is a very, very important game.
By 2, there are no changes, I understand, in the Balmain side, but Bill, a couple of new faces in the Illawarra Steelers.
2 changes for the Steelers. Greg Maggie wearing 14 goes on for Brian Hetherington, and Cavalier in 17 for Keith Cole.
Okay, and the captaincy has gone to Upfield, Paul Upfield, playing at 5'8". First half tackles, Elias and Maguire showing the way for Balmain, and they've made considerably more tackles than Illawarra. Hardy and Bolt, the best of the Steelers. Now, on the way with the second half. Tigers in possession just outside their own quarter. Clark is caught, 32 metres out. The big dummy, and Benny Elias has found the gap straight ahead. He's got Roach with him. Elias to the corner line. The pass back inside has gone astray, and the Steelers come up with it. Well, a dream start for Balmain, but they couldn't go on with the job. As the Steelers start to bring it out via Mannix. I dare say that Benny would have been looking for somebody with a little more pace than Steve Roach alongside him.
Steve Roach was held back too. There could have been a penalty come out of that.
Well, Benny was moving that quickly. Benny shot a boot back upfield. He's still trying to find it and slip a boot back on.
Well, here's Steve Roach showing all his pace now and taking play back inside the quarter. Sinclair's dummy half. There goes Clark, 10 metres out. Here come the Tigers. Elias to Rolls. Looked like they were putting on a run around, but Rolls takes the tackle himself. Only 5 metres out now, the Tigers. Real pressure for the Steelers as Roach turns his back. Looked to slip the pass, takes the tackle instead. From dummy half goes Elias. Last tackle, inches away. Back for Freeman. To Clark. The pass gone astray, and again, Balmain not able to go on with the job. Bad passing and handling, letting them down again as Mackie brings it out for the Steelers.
Yes, absolutely dreadful pass there. Couldn't possibly be taken, and the Steelers have come up with possession again. There's a golden opportunity gone.
Dean Carney in possession. Way to upfield. And then to Russell. Working the same way as upfield. Kicks and finds touch around about the halfway mark.
Yes, upfield kicking just as well with the against the wind as he was with the wind. He kicked about 3 occasions in the first half and made a lot of mileage.
Scrum right on the halfway mark. It's gone with the feed. Now here's Conlon. Rolls, getting it away to Maguire. Rolls again to Freeman. Caught by Cavalier on the halfway mark. 10 metres inside the Steelers' territory. As Elias runs across field, gives it to Roach, on to Rolls. Last tackle now for the Tigers. Freeman to Conlon. There's Gary Jack. Keeping the ball alive with the pass to Freeman. Freeman down the touchline. The pass back inside is intercepted. Steelers come up with it.
Yes, this was probably going to be a try to the Balmain side, but a great intercept there taken by Glenn Leggett and saved the Illawarra Steelers from a 4-pointer.
Certainly did save the Steelers. That's the second time Leggett has come up with it. We see Carney trying to wrestle his way free of the tackle from Conlon. He does that and gets out to the quarter line. Bill, a question I've been wanting to ask you, would it be fair to say the difference between these two teams has been in the play of the balls? Balmain seem to be playing the ball much quicker.
Yes, well, we alluded to that, of course, earlier in this game, but that's where Balmain are far superior. They're just playing the ball quickly. Now, the advantages of that are, firstly, you might come up with a 5-metre penalty, but also you're doing things before the opposition defence has time to get set. Illawarra, we can watch this one here from upfield. Now, have a look at how slow this is. It's taking so much time for them to play the ball that Balmain's defence is set and they really can't go anywhere. That's the area they've got to pick up.
Well, let's see if they can do that. Cavalier, the man on the charge, he's out there replacing Keith Cole. Known for his ability to be able to stand and slip the ball. Russell. Back inside it goes to Phillips, but the ball goes astray. David Rolls will have no problems with that one. So Balmain with a little bit more urgency in their play. They still maintain that 4 points lead. John Owens. Centre field and about 45 metres out. Roach. Elias. Clark. Well, he's lost it now. So, again, it's just a case of one team then the other making mistakes. Bolt out of dummy half. Russell. Wrapped up well and truly by Sinclair. And again, they're slow to their feet. Leggett. Well, that seems to be the best area for Illawarra. Just to get out of that dummy half position. That's where the gaps have been coming. And now the penalty because he struggled to his feet. He tried to get up quickly on that occasion. It forced Steve Roach and the Balmain defence to hold the player down. Larder to look for touch. There has been a gap in that Balmain defence, as I said. It's been up the middle of the ruck. But because of the number of errors they've made, handling errors, they just haven't been able to maintain the pressure. Let's see if they can come up with a full set of 6 this time. Carney just moving play to 10 metres out. Walsh. Walsh still going. Well, they're struggling to pull the big fella down just short of the line. Look at that, he's only inches away. Bolt. Phillips tries to go alone. To his feet. Switch of play for Bolt. Larder. The kick. Well, there's plenty of players here. It must be a try. Upfield will be the man to pick it up. Clever football. They set themselves. This time they just work play away through the forwards. And then the kick from Larder, perfectly weighted for the outside backs.
Yes, a beautiful little kick here coming from Larder. Just popped it behind the backs who are up very quick. Now, this time it was upfield. It probably could have been another Illawarra player had it not been him. Seeing it from another angle, a good long pass. Bolt throws another long one. Larder gets it. Little chip kick through. Only went about 5 feet in the air, rolled end over end. And you can see that upfield was the first man by many yards to get to it. It was quite a well-taken try, a well-thought-out try. Larder probably had some comment to make with the upfield behind him at the start, saying, I'll go through, or something of that nature, but it turned out trumps for them. And if they kick the goal, well, you'll hear it in Balmain.
The scorer, Paul Upfield, the man now with the responsibility of the captaincy. Seems Brian Hetherington has been forced from the field. Well-deserved drink. And it was an excellent try. Well thought out. Carney. Just the one from one so far. This time a tough kick, only about 3 or 4 metres in from the touchline. There's his angle. The sweat dripping from Carney. Well, he just hasn't met that ball properly at all. So there'll be no change to that scoreline following the try. Balmain and Illawarra, 6-all at the stadium.
I wonder if it's still the same.
Well, it has been 5 years.
And welcome back to 10 Sports Action, bringing you the National Panosonic Cup from the Parramatta Stadium. The game that's all tied up. Balmain and Illawarra. As Conlon gets things underway again. And away comes Carney. Russell
always veers away, does Russell. He never props off his outside foot and straightens himself up.
Cavill Hugh offloading to Michael Bolt. Now Russell again. Now upfield. This time Jack is able to take it on about his quarter line.
Yes, Bill Anderson, you've got the captain of the Illawarra Steelers who's out injured there with you at the moment, Perry Haddock.
Yes, and Perry's replacement tonight, Peter Phillips, I'm sure he would agree, is having a great game.
Yes, Bill, he's a very strong footballer. He can virtually play anywhere in the backs, and he's filling in very well tonight. I think Paul Uffield's playing very well tonight too.
Yeah, well, he looks like a half-back to me, Perry, but you've got back to 6-all. Do you think you can go on with it from here?
Yeah, as long as we can control the ball and not die with the ball as much as we were in the first half.
Well, let's get back to the action. It's getting pretty tight here at the moment.
Yeah, it is. Bill, I was watching then.
Good break from Owens upfield, but again, it's breaking down.
That was a good bit of refereeing by Bill Harrigan, even though he was on the far side of Conlon. Watch it here. He lost it, and the ball was knocked on definitely there. And Harrigan, who was over the other side of the body, saw the transgression.
Now it's Mackey working the scrum. Back for upfield, and then to Leggett. Mannix. Good run from Mannix. Got to the halfway mark. Well, this Balmain defence has looked a little ordinary at times, Billy.
Yes, there are holes there. It's a matter of maintaining the ball and keeping pressure on if you're going to find them. And the other thing that I'd suggest is Illawarra are now starting to find support runners, and that's something that they were lacking early.
Playing with a lot more confidence. Right on the halfway mark. Here's upfield. Shaped to kick, then through a dummy. Still going. Good run from upfield. He's to the quarter line. Looks for support. Found it too from Russell. And Russell will play the ball about 12 metres out. Last tackle now for the Steelers. A long floating pass which has gone nowhere. Picked up by Mackey. The little kick through from Mackey for his winger. A chase for the ball. But it's finally Sinclair who falls on it.
And Gary Jack looking as though in back play on the quarter line to be in real trouble. The trainers were out quickly to him.
We'll keep an eye on him as the Tigers try to bring this ball upfield again. We'll be talking about upfield all night.
Yeah, he's had a pretty useful game.
Now it's 15 metres out from the Tigers line. Owens, they've called for the stretcher for Gary Jack. As Rolls sends the kick downfield, Gary Jack in trouble. This kick downfield is picked up by Carney on his own quarter line. He's got Lada with him but tries to run through the tackle. Mackey. Well, there's Neil getting ready in the Balmain side, and they're also looking at some other replacements. Michael Moss is coming on for Gary Jack. Moss, a former Penrith player, thought had an outstanding game in reserve grade. That's a bad sign for Balmain as Gary Jack is assisted from the field. Now the Steelers. It's 40 metres out, and Balmain have possession. Clark. Now it's Rolls. And then Maguire. Back for Rolls. Get you a report on Gary Jack as soon as we can. As Steve Roach takes the play up to the quarter line. The one-handed pass back for Owens. And Michael Neal is on. And we'll check who he's replacing. Clark is coming off. Clark is off for Balmain. So Neal on for Clark. Last tackle now for the Tigers. As Benny Elias puts boot to ball right in front of the goal mouth. Taken nicely by Lada.
Yes, a first-class bomb there in the National Panosonic Cup replay. Moss had no necessity to come and charge into Larder like that. I thought the referee would have given a penalty against him there.
So plenty of problems for Balmain, Gary Jack off and Clark off at 6-all. Maybe the momentum now starting to swing a little bit to the Steelers. There'll be plenty of positional changes in this Balmain side. Upfield, the man saying to cause the problems in this second quarter. Larder goes to the blind side and easily finds 15 metres. Mackey, long ball out to upfield, a little chip for his outside backs. Carney will be the first one to the ball, decides to tow it ahead. Well, now Moss has lost it. Hodges had 2 goes at it. So Balmain, as I said, the problem's starting to come for the Tigers. It was tough enough for them to bounce back after Wednesday, after last Sunday, I should say, for tonight. Michael Neal has packed into the lock forward position. So there he is there. Mackey feeding the scrums for the Steelers upfield again. Neal out very quickly to wrap him up, to lend a hand to Gary Freeman. Mackey cuts out Phillips, finds Leggett. Now Phillips has it back on the inside. Mackey keeping this ball alive for the Steelers. Larder been living in that front line. He doubles around to receive the ball again. Out wide it goes for Carney to the corner. Another try for the Steelers. Good football. They kept that ball alive. Always somebody there to take the pass. The momentum was certainly starting to swing for the Steelers. And a couple of major positional changes upsetting this Balmain defensive line.
Yes, some beautiful football here by Illawarra. They really kept the football alive, no question about it. Out to Mackey, back inside there to the halfback. Then Mackey came again trying to make further forward progress. Larder was the man. He doubled around there, beautifully around Bolt. And then a long pass right out to Carney, and Carney's pace and size kept him on the straight and narrow. Kept him in from being pushed over the sideline. First-class football by the Illawarra side. Back to Mackey, steps, goes, quick acceleration, caught by one leg, got it back to Larder. Larder avoids 2, then 3, goes to Bolt, then runs around Bolt, gets the ball again. Very determined. Then the pass out to Carney. Now watch Carney, doesn't deviate from the line he's taken to come to the goal. So a very, very good try indeed to Carney. The score now 10-6 in Illawarra's favour. Kick it, goal to come.
Dean Carney, there's his angle from right on touch, trying to convert his own try. Steve Larder laying on the first one for upfield, and certainly laying on this one for Carney as well. Well, again, he hasn't struck that ball well, but it's been a big second quarter so far for the Steelers. Balmain 6, Illawarra 10. Bill, there's always an interesting question. It seems to raise its head more often than not, the way teams tend to play football better nowadays into the breeze.
Well, at the moment the breeze has dropped somewhat. I don't think Illawarra are doing it as tough as they might have been had the wind stayed as it was. Graham, I think the biggest difference in Illawarra, in one word, in this second half of the game is Mackey. He's done everything quickly. He's gone forward, he's gone to half-back and given them some organisation around the rucks, but most importantly, he has done things quickly, and the rest of the players have followed suit.
Well, no sooner do they do something right, though, than they've come up with a major mistake here. They allowed that kick-off to go dead in goal. There's Mackey, who's injected plenty of enthusiasm into the Steelers. So the restart now from under the goalposts. Moss to come up with the ball for the Tigers. Can they answer back quickly just before the end of this third quarter? And Elias clapping his hands there, trying to get him to his feet quickly. Owens just outside the quarter line of the Steelers. Rolls. Freeman. Conlon. Puts out the fullback. Parrish can't handle that. While the Steelers were also very slow to get down to the ball.
It was good quick hands out along the line here. It went to Parrish. Parrish just couldn't handle it. And then he was taken out of the play with a tackle. So it's a bit of a misfortune for the youngster.
Well, Steve Roach with a heavy responsibility now for the Tigers as captain to get this side motivated. Plenty of talking has to occur in that Balmain defence. Phillips still going. They've had plenty of trouble with the little man. Well, it was Illawarra that was upset the Tigers and gave them a whole heap of trouble at the Belmore Sports Ground in Monday night football last year. Something they certainly take a liking to the Tigers whenever they meet. Bolt. Cavill-Hugh. That defence standing and waiting. Not moving up. Well, there's been a little knock on in that play of the ball.
Yes, Michael Bolt was the man there. He just couldn't. He tried to get the pass away quickly. That was the problem. And the ball wouldn't just come to hand.
9 seconds now of the third quarter. Bill Harrigan wants that ball fed again. There's the siren. Well, Balmain will have one last throw of the dice in this third quarter because the Illawarra front row had collapsed that scrum. Ross Conlon will see place kick for touch once again. So if there's any problems out there for the greenkeeper here at Parramatta, it'll be all smiles whenever Ross Conlon runs around. On this occasion, though, that's a superb touch finder from Conlon. Balmain hesitating, Benny Elias not really knowing what to do. Rolls will probably be the man just to place this bomb under the uprights. Plenty of support going back. Well handled, wrapped up perfectly by Upfield. It's been a big quarter for him and the Steelers.
Yes, he flew very well for that upfield. It was always his ball. He claimed the ball, and that's the end of the section. Illawarra having scored 2 tries in this quarter, the third quarter. They lead by 10 points to 6. The tempo of the game has certainly increased. Young Mackey's putting in a pretty sterling performance for the Illawarra side. It's all up to Balmain now. They've got to get their act together. They were last year's premiers. Okay, well, let's see. We'll be back in a moment.
Final quarter, National Panasonic Cup, and there is a scoreline. Illawarra leading Balmain 10-6. And the pressure right on both sides now. And one change to the Illawarra side, Billy Anderson.
Craig Keane wearing 16 goes on for Michael Carberry.
Craig Keane, he'll need to be. Now the Tigers have it all to do. Badly knocked around with injuries. Even before the game, they were knocked around with injuries. And what about these Steelers? It's been said time and time again that the Steelers don't know how to win. Bill Anderson, how do they learn to win?
Well, it's much easier to learn how to lose than it is to learn how to win, but they're in a position here where they could be able to go on with it. I think that's something that just comes with experience, really, and with players that have been there and done it before. Unfortunately, for all coaches and teams such as Illawarra, it's a long, hard lesson.
Well, maybe the lesson will be learned tonight because they lead by 4 points. Now here's Mackey, who's certainly injected life into this Steelers outfit since he came on. Alex. Keeping the ball alive as Russell takes the tackle from Cavill-Hugh. Hardy. Back for upfield again. Michael Moss waiting for it, takes it calmly, no problems. Is able to link up with Rolls. Now here's Freeman. Conlon. The word from the Balmain dressing room about Gary Jack is not nearly as bad as we feared. He was knocked out and is up on his feet and appears to be okay at this stage. That's good news. Now the Tigers with Matt Parrish playing it right on the halfway mark as Rolls sends it downfield and finds touch.
Yes, not a bad kick, this one. It puts them back into an attacking position around about the Illawarra quarter. And it's quite a useful kick. Now, all they need is a win against the Fee.
Not this time. Upfield. Just outside his own quarter. Vigorous defence, but the little fellow Phillips handles it okay. Now Keane playing it. Just Walsh. Upfield. Out for Carney. A kick down for Michael Moss. Can't beat the tackle of Russell. Here's Podgy. He's the Balmain try scorer in the second quarter. Penalty's gone to the Tigers. Illawarra up inside the 5 metres. So again, the ritual of finding the sand bucket. And I must admit, just towards the end of the last quarter, Conlon did find touch magnificently with one of these place kicks.
Yes, he's found touch 1 out of 7 with a real good one. 2 out of 8.
Well, that's an excellent kick from Conlon. So the Tigers now right on the 10-metre mark. Rolls. Turns it back inside for Maguire. 5 metres to go. Rolls for Conlon. Finally, out for Podgy. But the Illawarra defence holds him easily. Michael Moss. Now Elias, caught at the dummy half position by his opposite number, Mick Bolt. Rolls. Maguire. See, the Illawarra defence is good, isn't it? Last tackle now. Rolls puts a little kick through, tries to chase and regather. Can't do it. And the Steelers save the day, only 3 metres out from their own line.
Certainly was good defence. They have lifted their game quite remarkably in the last 2 quarters. There's that scoreline. Illawarra 10-6. This is where they just can't afford now in this last quarter to come up with any errors. Losing tackles swiftly, though. They're not setting themselves for the kicking game. Upfield is the man they would look to. Well, he's lost it. And regained. The ball was reefed out of his hand. Harris couldn't control it, so it's 6 more for the Steelers now. Larder to play the ball. He's played well for the Steelers tonight. They managed to get to the quarter line. Cavalcue. Under open play up to both sides of the field now. Russell. Long ball out for Hardy. Breaks out of 1 tackle. Now the last for the Steelers. Carney was kicked to an open field and Russell Gartner. So it's 1-on-1 Mannix and Gartner. Too much experience for Mannix. Well and truly into the quarter. So that was a bad kick from Carney. Opening this game up for the Tigers, Elias. Maguire. McNeil goes under a high tackle. About 18 metres out, directly in front of the Steelers' posts. Roach. Good ball out for Rolls. Struggles to his feet. Freeman. Sinclair. Wrestled to the ground, only 5 metres out. Elias picks up Freeman going for the line. He in turn looks for Benny Elias. Touched again, 6 tackles, 6 more for the Tigers. But this time, in fact, it's lost. So plenty of pressure for the Steelers, but again they survive.
Well, Carney ought to be flogged for kicking to the open wing like that. That's the most unrewarding thing to do, and it was very nearly came.
Certainly was. Russell Gartner showed all his experience as he stood up Max Mannix. Larder calling for a pick ball there. They had the overlap with Mannix, but it was well read again, this time by Gartner. Upfield. straight up the middle. Oh, there's the handling errors. Plenty of them, all even. And just the 4 points in the scoreline. Cavill Hugh struggling to get this ball out of their own quarter. Bill, what would you be doing what would you be saying to the Steelers outfit right now?
Well, mate, exactly what young Hardy did just then, working from dummy half. They'll be getting the backs in there. Guys like Larder, the fullback, Dean Carney, Mackey and so on. I think there are yards to be made from dummy half, particularly with one marker, and this game now drawing to a close.
Well, drawing to a close, but plenty of time still for Balmain to win it. Conlon. He certainly seemed to lack a little bit of combination. So many injuries to the Tigers before the game and during that have caused a lot of positional changes. So you might be able to understand the lack of cohesion. Although Roach is trying to set the play for the Tigers this time. 42 metres out. Elias. Neal. Parrish. Last tackle. Rolls. Kicks away from Lardo. Will it be too deep? It will, and play will come back to the quarter-line restart for the Steelers.
Well, not a very well-judged kick. It looked as if it was always going to go over the dead ball line. So the Steelers get possession again with a tap on the 22, and Nick Bolt loses the ball on the first tackle. Well, that was a bad mistake from Mick. Now Elias ducks under one tackle, keeps it alive with a pass to Maguire, but he's caught by Cavill Hugh. Maguire probably looking for a penalty. Referee not impressed. Sinclair takes it now almost to the quarter line. And what can the Tigers do? Here's Benny Elias. Made 5 metres. Now they're inside the quarter line. Freeman. Last tackle now for the Tigers. Rolls. This time another grubber kick. Not as deep and taken without any problem by Upfield. So they're not able to put much pressure on the Steelers.
Well, they're not. And the problem for Balmain is because of those injuries prior to the match, and as I said, the number of injuries they've had during the game, is that what's occurring is there's too many players calling for the play around the rucks. There is not a dominant player in this outfit like a Peter Sterling or a Steve Mortimer or even a Paul Vorton that might take control of rucks for Manly Warringah. They need somebody to call the shots and just set them forward.
Excellent run from Cavill Hugh before. And now Phillips ducking and weaving and getting to 10 metres from the halfway mark. Last tackle signal now for Illawarra. 10 points to 6. Illawarra over Balmain. Final quarter of this National Panasonic Cup match. Michael Moss almost got through. Rolls and Freeman and Conlon. But again, the Steelers' defence too good. Sinclair. Owens. One-hander back for Conlon, and now on to Rolls again. And linking up with him is Freeman. Freeman got to the quarter line. Now, can the Tigers do anything? They've got the defence backpedaling. Can they capitalise? Roach gets it to Conlon. And out to Parrish. Elias puts the bomb in the air. One of your chasers, up they go for it, it's loose, it's a try. Michael Neal, I think you'll find, has touched down. Michael Neal in for the Tigers.
Yes, indeed. This was the one they wanted. Benny Elias got a fairly hefty boot to that. Michael Neal from an onside position gets there and picks up the dregs off a rebound from an Illawarra player and scores the try fairly adjacent to the post. It's only about 4 metres out. There's Elias from ground level. Watch the ball come down. Watch the Illawarra player catch it and then get taken out of it and lose it. And Neal was there to pick up the dregs and score the most important try he scored in a long, long while. 10 all.
10 all. Boy. And Ross Conlon is used to pressure kicks, and in terms of kicking, it's a pretty easy one for him. It's about 5 metres from the left-hand upright.
Except there's no such thing as an easy kick.
We know. Now Conlon makes no mistake and puts the Tigers in front with 8 minutes to go. Balmain 12, Illawarra 10.
I've been to cities that never close down, from LA to Rome and old London town, but no matter how far or how wide I roam, I still call Australia home. I'm always traveling, I love being free, so I keep leaving the sun and the sea. But my heart lies waiting over the phone. I still call Australia
How do you feel? Your first big game, you're what's his name? Who is this kid? How do you feel? Your stomach churns, the liniment burns, your palms are wet. How do you feel? Your first big chance slips through your hands, what a serve you get. How do you feel? The pace is on, your winner's scrum, it's heaven sent. How do you feel when you score a try with a dummy and a jink? How do you feel? How do you feel? I feel like a two-ease. I feel like a two-ease. I feel like a two-ease or two. I feel like a two-ease or two.
Okay, footy fanatics, it's time to play Footy Tab in 88 with the Channel 10 Pick the Result game. Take a punt on the footy and pick your winning team. It makes watching Wednesday night's Panosonic Cup game even more exciting. Race into your nearest pub tab or TAB today and play Channel 10's Pick the Result game.
Tough luck, mate. No worries. Every week I can win a $500 Footy Tab account by sending him a losing Pick the Result ticket.
Check for details in any TAB outlet.
Mozzarella!
Lada. Good step from the fullback. Back in field it goes for Mannix. And they get back to near halfway. So, 9-7 the scrums in favour of Balmain. The penalties 8-6 to the Steelers.
And if the game were to finish level, if Illawarra were to get a goal and get it level, it'd be Illawarra at present who would be winning the game, because the tries are even and they've got the penalty count by 2.
So no doubt that message will go out if there's a penalty within kicking range. Phillips wrapped up easily on that blind side. Well, Russell Gartner is in a few problems on the far touchline. So the injuries keep coming for the Tigers, and so do the Steelers. They were doing it well at 10-6. Russell kicks for Mackey. Moss just picks the ball up, though, about a metre from the line. Mackey tries to force him back into the in goal.
Aggressive little brute, isn't he?
Pobji. Well, he's down injured. And Balmain Bill about to make some replacements.
Well, Illawarra is certainly going to make one. John Conley in 15 will be going on for Greg Leggett. Balmain had 2 players warming up on the sideline. John Owens has come off and Steve Edmed will be taking his place. Gartner's come off. We could see that he was in trouble over the other side. And Clint Robinson will go onto the wing.
So that's the full complement now for Balmain. We see Edmed get his first touch. Steve Roach. Michael Neal, the man that came up with that try. Could it be the match winner? Pressure on the kicker. He just managed to get that in. touched in flight. Larder. Phillips sends the ball wide. Mackey, they have to toss this ball around, the Steelers. Connolly just manages to drag that ball back in. Walsh. Well, upfield and Larder with them, and that caused all the problems in the third quarter, along with Mackey. Cavill-Hugh finds a gap up the middle. Last tackle. Larder. Long ball for Phillips. He flicks the ball out the back. They're trying everything at this stage. 4 minutes left on the clock. Mannix keeping the ball alive. Plenty of support players here if they can shift it wide. Hardy. Mackey tries to straighten play up. Back in field it goes for Hardy. Back out for upfield. He has Carney in support. The fullback to beat. He kicks ahead. Well, that player must be offside if that was a rebound. That ball looked to come up a Balmain player and back into the arms of Sinclair.
We'll see it again here. It came straight to Hardy. And Hardy goes ahead. The ball goes out. Carney's going to get the ball in a moment. He's going to kick ahead. No, it didn't appear to come off anybody.
Well, that to me was off the Balmain fullback and into the arms of Sinclair.
Points to 10. Balmain just holding out Illawarra. 3 minutes to go. What drama from Parramatta Stadium. Just enjoying it at home. And of course Balmain, who are Cup champions, won that final against Penrith by just 2 points. And Illawarra, as we mentioned to you at the top, have only ever won the solitary National Panosonic Cup match.
Well, Mackey's just lost the football there for Illawarra.
And we were saying before, this tag that's been given to them of not knowing how to win.
Well, you've got to pay your dues to Balmain. They had a tough loss after that game on Sunday against Parramatta. Plenty of injuries again tonight during the match, and they're bouncing back. This will do an enormous amount for the Spirit.
Just throwing my 2 bobs worth in, I believe that young Alan Neal has had a monumental input into this game, the same as Mackey has for the Illawarra side. I think he's brightened everything up for Balmain, quite apart from the try that he scored.
Well, some enterprising stuff now from Illawarra as they take play back to the halfway mark with Phillips to Russell and then to Connolly. Stopped dead in his tracks. Mackey looking for a way through, found it. Can he get a pass away? No, he can't. Time running out for the Steelers, and they know it. Here's Larder. Lost the ball behind him. Picked up and kept alive as the Steelers throw it around. Cavill-Hugh. 32 metres out from the Balmain line. Balmain lead by 2 points, and Illawarra just throwing the ball anywhere as Connolly picks it up. Last tackle signal now for the Steelers. And Larder puts the bomb in the air. Phillips is chasing it up, goes Moss and takes it beautifully.
Yes, that was a very important catch, and young Moss has done excellently to take the ball. As you can see from the replay, he was under enormous pressure there. Absolutely enormous, and he stood his ground very bravely, standing there again, face on. Not the ideal technique, mind you. He should have jumped sideways, but we won't cavil at that. He did a great job for the Balmain team.
Could well have saved the match with 1 minute remaining, and the Tigers cling to the 2-point lead. And surely now they'll just take the 6 tackles and then roof it downfield as far as they possibly can.
I don't think we'll see any flash football from Balmain at the moment. I think they've had a hell of a fright tonight.
They sure have. Elias, that's all they'll do, just use up the tackles. And likewise. Now this ought to be the 5th tackle as Neal runs across field. Last tackle is signalled. 4 seconds remaining. It's been kicked into touch. The siren will beat them all. And there it is. Full time in the National Panasonic Cup with Balmain edging out the Steelers by 12 points to 10.
And the tries for the Balmain side come from Popji and Neil. Conlon 2 goals. The tries for Illawarra, Upfield and Carney. And a Carney goal was the 10 points. So 12-10, Balmain defeated Illawarra in this National Panasonic Cup game. And I'll be back in a moment with the man of the match.
Tomorrow, has Mum Put given up?
For the first time in living history, you're letting someone push you around. Forceful, isn't it?
Susan walks into a deadly trap.
Student, I'm a police officer.
And a shock announcement.
I want to put the house on the market.
Richmond Hill, tomorrow on 10.
Welcome back to the Parramatta Stadium. Well, a win tonight to Balmain in the National Panasonic Cup. It doesn't show on our superstar points. Just the 1 point went their way tonight to Ben Elias, 2 points to Steve Larder, and 3 points in our National Panasonic man of the match, Paul Upfield. Paul, it doesn't really help you, I know, to be picked as the man of the match. You looked to have it won, but then lost it in that last quarter.
Yeah, we talked during the week about concentration for the full 80 minutes, you know. We played the Gold Coast on the weekend and concentrated for 60 minutes. This week we concentrate for, what, 71, 72 minutes. You know, it's bad that we can make an error that costs us a game. We've only got ourselves to blame.
It was 10-6 when you were leading starting that fourth quarter. Do you think that the fellas might have felt a little bit more comfortable than just, say, the 4-point lead?
Yeah, I'm not sure if we felt comfortable. I thought the Balmain pushed up very well in defence in the last quarter. In the third quarter, they allowed us to get forward over the advantage line. In the last quarter, Roach, Maguire, the other prop pushed up very hard on us and made it very hard for us to get the necessary yards forward to have a good kicking game.
Well, they certainly eased that win in for themselves. Coming your way, though, from National Panasonic, $1,200 worth of a national colour stereo television set. Well played tonight.
Yeah, thanks very much. I'd like to thank National Panasonic and Channel 10. I know the players say it every week, but it is something to shoot for when you're playing. There's no better reward than this.
All right, well done. Paul Upfield tonight on the losing side. Unfortunately, he doesn't stay alive for the Superstar Prize at the end of the year, but for those who are, here's Victoria Nichols to tell us all about it.
The national TV, the video recorder, hi-fi gear, microwave oven, air conditioner, video camera, the shaver, toaster, vacuum cleaner, $20,000 worth of fabulous national products.
That's the Superstar Prize for the Player of the Series. For some reason, Butch thought he could win it.
Well, a win, as I said, to Balmain tonight. Let's go to Footy Tab now with Johnny Croucher.
Thank you, Graham. That was a very close and exciting game. And with that final scoreline of Balmain 12 and Illawarra 10, there were 267 winners. And the provisional dividend this week, $123.35. And the winner of this week's Channel 10 Pick the Result competition is W. Singleton of Alexandria, and they're the winner of the $500 Footy Tab account. And don't forget, to enter this competition, it's very easy. All you have to do is write your name and address on the back of a losing Footy Tab ticket and send it to Footy Tab, Lock Mailbag number 11, Post Office Broadway, New South Wales, with the postcode 2007.
Thank you, Johnny Croucher. Well, starting this week, a new tradition for the Rugby League, the official yearbook of the New South Wales Rugby League, last year's 1987 Winfield Cup season. It names the top 5 players from last year, the premiership round by round, the full club and test record going back to 1908, and it names from 1987 a team of the year. It's available at all outlets, news agencies and bookshops. Out now, the Rugby League Yearbook 87.
Well, Balmain have got out of jail here with this game, a very exciting game. It finished up an exciting game. I thought the standard early was a little bit shonky, but it came good towards the end. And Upfield was a very good man of the match, even though he's in the losing side. He played very, very well indeed. I haven't seen him play 5'8" before, and a good performance it was. OK, we've got some exciting things for you coming up. The English Rugby League first semi-final, Wigan versus Salford. Now, that Wigan side is a great side. Take no bones about that one. 11:30 p.m. after late night Australia tonight. And on Sunday, well, it's a very exciting day. We're trying to conjecture, have a little bit of a lottery about what the crowd's going to be up here at Parramatta and Manly at the Parramatta Stadium. Well, we could have anything, 25,000. Then, strange, next Wednesday, we're coming back to Parramatta Stadium. The National Panasonic Cup first quarter final, South Sydney versus Cronulla. So that's what we have in store all for you. Only remains for me to say on behalf of all the Channel 10 crew who've done such a great job, have a very good evening.